All right. So we're almost ready to go here. A little bit slow with internet, but thank you so much, everyone. Thank you for being part of our Genius process. We really appreciate it, or our Genius community, and it sort of branches out into other things as well, like the affirmational magic, which is a natural adjunct of it. You can also join me at 4:00 today. If you go to our events page, I'm going to be on the podcast showing a live session from the Oberon biofeedback system. Why would we show the Oberon system? Because what the Oberon does is it goes through every system in the body, including pancreas, liver, stomach, bones, spinal nerves, chromosomes, DNA, in an orderly fashion, and it executes it automatically. This system works very nicely with the Genius, where you can take a deeper dive into different systems that are highlighted by the Oberon system. I'm going to show you how they can work together. So join me on the Frequency of 5 to 8 podcast. You can come back to this Zoom at 4:00 this afternoon Pacific, 7:00 Eastern time. That's on our events page at geniusbiofeedback.com. Okay, I'm just having a little bit of trouble. Okay, so let's invite you on. So Rochelle, I'm going to see if you can, I don't see your video here. So I don't know if you have your camera covered. There you go. Okay, Rochelle, thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
So just tell us a little bit about yourself and what you would like to get out of today's session.
Okay. Well, I am probably, like many people in the community, working on just getting out there, trying to help people using the Genius. And I've been working on getting back to kind of following my life purpose and everything. I took a break to raise my daughter, and she's now 8.5. I had my doctorate in clinical psychology, and I studied, my dissertation was on mindfulness and stress reduction. So I feel like that's probably really needed right now. And I'm really wanting to get out there. And it's just, I'm also kind of a kid in a candy store with all the new technologies and the different ways. And I've been training in lots of different things. And it's really hard to just go and just take that step. And I've taught at the graduate level, I've spoken at groups before, but it's something right now that just feels like I'm kind of held back. And so I'm just wanting that really be able to click into my groove again. And, one of the reasons that I'm interested in all this technology is it's been a long journey with figuring out and unwinding health issues. And once you step back and look, you can see all the way back to your childhood, antibiotics repeatedly for earaches as a young child. And you can just start to see, and then that set me up for this. And so I'm kind of unwinding all of that. I do deal with Hashimoto's, thyroiditis, and then that has its relationship with candida and heavy metals, and they've thrown all those diagnoses at me, which I don't particularly prescribe to, but Lyme disease and all of that. So just trying to find my groove, have the energy, and not have such a reactive immune system. That's a huge issue for me.
Okay, let's try to put it in terms of specific goals. You did great.
Okay.
And I just want to thank you for being part of today.
A nutshell.
And thank you for your courage for, joining us today. I really appreciate it. I'm so thankful for your presence. So
thank you.
Let's define it. And we're going to go through these questions that are here on this sheet, because we want to sort of follow the process, because it gives us structure in. Often with these issues, we're trying to unwind a lot of information at once. So what is the problem today that we would be trying to solve? Let's just pick one of them. It could be the Hashimoto's. Sure. It could be what you pick, the one that you want to solve.
Yeah, I would say it's definitely the kind of hypersensitivity of the immune system, just overall sensitivity.
Okay. So so that's the problem you're trying to solve. And if you're currently sick, what is the illness you'd like to see change? So it's specifically the hypersensitivity of the immune system.
Yeah, I think that's it, because that's where I can have the autoimmune flares, or just, just have, I can get some exposures to things, and I can, get a headache, or it'll just make me feel really fatigued. So that.
Okay, got it. And if it was to be changed, what is the transformation? What would you like to experience that you're not experiencing now?
I want to feel that almost like that buzz of vitality, just that potent vitality where, the only question that comes to mind is, what am I going to do with all this energy?
So the real thing that we're going for is it more energy? Put it in your own words.
Yeah, I mean, it's a like creative life force, that vitality.
So we started with hypersensitivity of the immune system. So how come we didn't, I just want to know for your thought process, how come we didn't go in what we want to experience being like a settled or a balanced immune system?
Right. That's a good point. I think for me that I identify with being when I'm in a healthy place, I actually have a lot of energy that I can, like a creative life force that I can feel like I'm the shepherd of, like I can guide it. And I feel like so much of my life for a long, long time has just been striving to try to get back to that. So that's my end goal, is to just feel like I am in that place of vitality and I can just choose, oh, I'm going to do this and then follow through, or, oh, I'm going to do this and follow through, instead of feeling like I'm constantly dealing with, oh, I got to take a few steps back, or I'm too tired for that. Or that's why I went to that.
Do you feel that your hypersensitive immune system has led you to have a loss of vitality?
Yeah,
Okay,
definitely.
got it. Okay.
It becomes all my energies into just managing life.
Got it. Okay. So vitality is really the core around all of this. Everything centers around this core, having more visceral energy, because energy for you means that you can be creative and live the kind of life that you want. So it's around the energy piece. Is that right? And none of these, what I need for this process is just to get to we're just trying to get to the root to understand you. So there's no right or wrong answer.
Right. Yeah, I think vitality is because, it is about that coherence. And for me, I feel like as a physical empath, someone who's taking in a lot of information all the time, I feel like it's easy to be in that incoherent place. And so it takes a lot of energy to come into a coherent place and then manage the health. And I feel like if I'm in a place of vitality, there's a natural coherence in that. And then there's just this sort of invitation to use that energy in a creative way, instead of using that energy to mitigate.
I totally understand. Okay, so what would you like to have happen in your body and in your life when you attain the goal of having more vitality?
It feels like movement, like a gentle, like that ebb and flow, and like the infinity sign, it's just this gentle movement without those sticky points. Flow. The flow state. Yeah. More flow state.
What would you like to have to happen in your body around this issue?
I think being able to settle into that groundedness more easily, that still point.
And you almost settled into it even as we were talking.
Yeah. I have a way of speaking things into being. I just need to put that to work for myself.
What is the sensation, or what are the particular, can you anchor it? Is there a certain place in your body where you might experience this?
Yeah, I think it always starts in the high heart and heart area for me, and just then anchors down from there.
Okay. Is there any place in the body where you have pain, or where you actually feel things like a stomach ache, headache, anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, I can feel lots of different things. I had struggled with migraines for many decades, but that's really a lot better under control with some healing work I've done. I can get chronic back issues and neck issues, tightness around that stuff. And then I have this issue with plantar fasciitis. And I know that's probably some stability issue at the hips that affects my low back. And it seems to be pulling on the whole system down into the arches of the feet. And that's been really, and it's just, obviously the connections there are interesting. I'm struggling to sort of step forward, move, and then literally my body's kind of struggling to step forward and move with that.
Is there a corollary in your life where you're at a hesitation point, not exactly moving forward in your life?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing is just starting the work, just putting myself out there and starting the work. I have a website and I've worked with people. I've worked with other coaches. I've led meditations online, but just starting. I think for me, it was really, it's difficult being a potent empath with just the amount of fear that people have been going through and everything that the collective is processing. It's just kind of kept me from stepping forward and being involved. And I just need to, move through it and do it.
Okay, so we've centered the issue around hypersensitivity of the immune system. And in our process of affirmational magic, we think about all types of words, like the word hypersensitivity, or just thinking about the immune system. What does it do? The immune system is something that is a boundary, is a protection, and it's really interesting that you mentioned about being an empath and sort of taking in and taking on a lot of other people's emotions to the extent where it's limited you. So what we're doing in the beginning is we're just observing, sort of just really just being a mirror, sort of observing what's coming up, because that's going to help us. These are all frequencies and elements, energies that are in the field. And so it's wonderful just to be able to observe them. But words, which words are also frequency, are very important to our affirmational magic process. So we found hypersensitivity of the immune system manifesting in some ways, but also in specifically Hashimoto's, and then that being a blockage or an impediment to having true vitality, which leads to creative flow and the creative process of just enjoying the juiciness of life. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Now we're going to go to the next question here. What has been the greatest challenge about working towards having a not hypersensitive immune system, a balanced immune system? And if you could just, without thinking about it too much, just if you could even make something up, what do you think is the number one obstacle to your getting well right away?
The first thing I thought of was just the number one obstacle feels like there's such a pattern of those steps forward and then falling back. So it's like,
that's beautiful. That's beautiful. Pattern of moving forward and then taking steps back. What a great and wonderful and honest recognition. I love it. What then, of course, it leads to the next question, which is when you're just sort of crawling ahead and you're like, I'm doing it, I'm moving. What do you think causes the steps back? And you can just make it up as if, hey, I'm just gonna make up any answer that comes to me. What you just did was wonderful. And so I think on point.
I think it's funny. What comes to me is that it's an identification with the symptoms that come up. It's an over, like,
that's powerful.
Yeah.
Say a little bit more about that. That's really powerful.
I'm doing this work that's really about, obviously we're all on this path to ultimately dissolve our ego and connect to this broader oneness. But there's a message in all that work that's really been powerful for me, which is this an over identification with, and in doing so, almost choosing suffering unconsciously. Like, oh, this is acting up again, and I'm going to have to do these things to take care of it, or take a step back, or change what I'm doing, or, just instead of, I think there's a message here for me too about, that's coming in, is just also changing, instead of thinking of my immune system as something that's like like I can't corral it, or it's a problem, or any of those sort of labels, to just think of it as information coming in. And that, like what you said, has really hit me as boundaries, right? To change my frame on my immune system as like, okay, it's taking in a lot of information. I need to turn the volume down, and I need to, see if there's something for me. And if there isn't, to release the rest. And
what does it mean for you to identify with the symptoms? Because that you said, when we asked the question, what is the thing that takes you to the step back? Is what identifying with the symptoms, just tell us a little bit more about what that means.
It feels like it means, I'm worried. I go to a place of worry or concern that something's going to snowball. And then I have to do something or change something. And I go into sort of over analyzing, well, what was it? And did I get exposed to something, or all of that over, mentality.
You do have the classic healers where we almost know too much as healers about all the different causative factors. When I hear identification with the symptoms, they feel very familiar. They feel very safe when we identify with them, and almost the loss of them could feel a little scary.
Yeah, I see that, certainly. I mean, that's the whole secondary.
Because when you said like these are the words that came sort of free form to you, and you can change them if you want, but they're very wonderful. That's why we ask people in this process, like, don't think about it too much,
right?
Because really then the conditioning of the subconscious mind comes in and actually does this little trick for us where it goes, don't tell her what the real reason is. And so if we don't think about it too much, and we even give the person the permission, the client the permission just to make it up, then the truth kind of free forms. And this identification with the symptoms is so, it just makes so much sense, because we get so used to it. Almost feels safe to sort of just go into that pattern. You really mentioned about it being a pattern. So, but that's a great awareness, even though you don't have to do anything with it at the moment.
Right. I did the dynamic neural retraining system, which was really powerful about calming the limbic system. And I was just very interested in it with my background in psychology and seeing how those patterns can evolve. So I think that that's a powerful piece of that's why I have that awareness that I'm over identifying with, these symptoms that are coming up, because you don't want to kind of go there. You'll spin into going into those places of fear. I had an air, so I don't want to identify with those things to the point where it gets me off track.
Or even is identifying with them is identifying something which is not really the true form of you. You are forever, perfection. You are forever, well, I'm going to be leading into the next one. Before I go there, let me just ask you the next question. Tell me some thoughts you have around your ability of your body to heal, or the chances of you ever being fully well again. So let's just go with the first one. Tell me your thoughts about your body's ability to heal itself.
Well, I truly do believe that we are immortal consciousness. So I know that my body is completely capable, which is probably why I keep searching for what's the sticking point for me, because my belief is absolutely. And I've studied this for decades. I've studied, radical remissions and all of it. And I know, I do think, and maybe this is a question down the road, but one of the things that comes up is, there's a fear. Because once you're in that place of knowing your pure consciousness, and, you claim all the ways that you can walk in the world and all the gifts you have, that might be scary to me somehow, for many reasons. This life, past life, who knows? But that somehow that might be stopping me.
Oh, wait, say that last part again, right before what might be stopping me, about that piece of understanding. I got my body is completely capable of healing itself. You study radical remissions. What was right after that?
That stepping into my true power could be scary because
Got it.
In this life, that it wasn't safe to be a bright light, or in a past life. wasn't safe to
Okay,
use
we all
those
have that.
gifts.
We all, especially in today's environment.
Exactly.
You're doing fantastic, Rochelle. Thank you. You're
Thank you.
doing absolutely amazing. So what we want to go back to is focusing on hypersensitivity of the immune system, causing kind of this constant drain, fatigue. When you look at that and you think about, gosh, I've been trying to heal this thing. What is the sentence? What is something that you say to yourself about that sort of not being able to sort of go over that next piece to get to the place of being well?
I'd say I feel frustrated. I have a sense of frustration.
What is something that you, if I said, so gosh, this is so this is so trivial. I mean, you could probably just heal this in a day. This really isn't a big deal. What would you say to sort of express and say to me, but no, this is what?
This is part of my journey. I feel like it's the nut I need to crack. I feel like it's a way, what comes to mind is trust. I need to trust myself and trust my guidance. And that maybe the having symptoms that keep me from moving forward and stepping into more is about not trusting.
Have you tried a lot of things around your hypersensitive immune system?
Oh yeah. I had,
so would a fair sentence be something like, Ariel, no matter what I do, it doesn't make a difference. Can you give me your version of that?
Yeah, I would say I keep trying. I try lots of things, and I'm always open, and I feel like I keep taking steps forward. I mean, I'm in a much better place.
What is the thing that prevents it? Give me a sentence about what prevents it. Why isn't it healed today? It can be very complainy. It's okay.
Yeah, I feel like I'm really sensitive. I feel like I am the, they'll say, oh, well, that only happens to 1 in 10 million people. Well, I would be the 1 in 10. Yeah,
okay. I think we've landed on a very good place. Now, really, for the practitioners and people interested in this, it doesn't matter where you come in. You can just know that any place that you feel a landing point our beings are so holographic. It's going to sort of land in the right place and bring up things that need to be brought up and worked in this process. So, what I want you to do is just sort of relax a little bit, Rochelle. You're doing fantastic. And I want you to just sort of, I'm going to say something here about the concept of you feeling that you are very sensitive. And I want you, and whether it was valued, not valued, looked at, not looked at, ignored, whatever it is, just allow that sort of, this concept of you're very sensitive. And I want you to see yourself as a child. Allow yourself to gently float back to a time in your childhood where a similar thought process occurred about, I'm sensitive. We're going to go for the inception point for this type of a thought, like the first time you experienced it. Simply allow your mind's eye to show you this as if it were a movie, or even if you were just going to make it up, you were going to write your own movie about it. What do you see from your childhood?
Definitely not. It wasn't accepted. It was.
Tell us the story of exactly what you see happening. And remember, this is a movie. You can make it up. What is your mother saying? Your father saying?
I feel like when the movie plays, like I know that it was an inconvenience. Can
you come up with, I'm gonna coach you a little bit here. You're doing so fantastic. And I know we hit something so important because of the tears that came. And this is so grateful that you asked to participate today. But can you see or hear what they say to you or what you said to them instead of the analysis of the situation? Well, can you see the actual situation?
I can see the situation. I think the thing is that there weren't words. That's the thing. I wasn't acknowledged.
What is the one, now again, you don't have to remember the time. Tell us a story as if you were writing a children's book about the situation. What happens? You go into the room and what is said?
I would say that, excuse me.
Take your time. You're doing great. Fantastic. You're doing fantastic.
I say thank you. The room was very quiet, but it felt heavy. When I play the movie of those experiences, there aren't words. It's energetic. And I already know I was the surrogate, energetic surrogate in my family.
Can I tell you what I'm almost imagining is, like you walk in and it's like, Mommy, I think that man is going through something very difficult or is carrying a lot of pain or something like that. And Mom is just like, what are you talking about? Like, you don't know anything about anything. So tell us anything, a variation on that theme or something similar.
Yeah, feeling, feeling when our dog was not handling our move really well, feeling that and trying to say something and then being just like, you're just a kid, you don't know and you can't understand, but I felt like I did.
Tell us, this is very good. Did you empathically feel your dog's pain?
I'm sure I did. Yeah, I know I did.
Did you empathically as a child feel other people's pain or what they were experiencing?
Oh yeah. And I didn't know that that's what was happening. Yeah.
And can you think of anything that you said to Mom or Dad or sibling about this when you didn't know that it wasn't something people experienced all the time?
No, there was really a block there. There's really a block. And
it's interesting you're doing this. Interesting you're doing this.
I know.
Like a complete blocking of your third eye. It's literally blocking your third eye. I think that's what you did as a kid.
I did. And I feel like it was just so uncomfortable for my mother around any emotion. Well, my father had the stoicism, this very stoic and didn't express emotions. And actually he's very intuitive, but he's the strong silent type, not very many words, but very, very connected. But doesn't have that language for it. But my mom, it just made my mom uncomfortable to have emotions, period. Even to this day, it's just awkward. I mean, just weird.
What is one thing that you could visualize your mother saying to you about your own being more sensitive to what is going on around you?
I don't pay attention to that, or it's not yours to pay attention to, or we're not going to say anything. You shouldn't be. Just anything that would just get me to not, key in on it because it made her uncomfortable.
Great.
But the other thing that I realized is that when we were in there somewhere, when I was writing up here, I was like, oh, it's almost like the emotions weren't acknowledged and they were inconvenient to be expressed. And it's almost like I heard like my body had to talk. So, getting the problems was my body's way of trying to communicate.
So those are sort of a little bit of a separate issue, but that's a really important observation. So was what you were saying not important? Were they very busy? Did they not want to hear you, or did they sort of dismiss what you were saying?
Probably all of the above. It's not to say they weren't trying to be loving and caring in their own way. But yeah, they just didn't. they didn't have a frame for how how I experienced the world. And so I had to try to survive. I had to try to then experience the world, more closely the way they were. Like we all do. Our brains go, oh, that's not how it is in this tribe. Then I have to align this way, which is even more powerful when you're a child. And I think it just, I shut things down. I mean, that's the biggest thing I could say is just, it was always an inconvenience. If I had a bad dream, or I had some very, very, very interesting dreams and scared me at night, and I went in, it was just inconvenient. Or during the day, if I was upset, I mean, it was just no, just go do this, whatever. Just go back to bed. Just that.
So until you sort of escalated to, it's like, my finger is, there's blood all over the place, then you can finally get some attention. Otherwise, it's sort of diminished.
Yeah, I suppose.
It's inconvenient. It's inconvenient for you to be talking up on these things.
Inconvenient. Yeah. Just this. Yeah.
Okay. We're almost there. Like what we're going into, you're doing great. So your being sensitive was really diminished by, let's just focus on your mom for a moment. Is that correct?
Yes.
You're trying to vocalize things and say what's important to you was sort of like, oh, honey, could you just keep it down a little bit? Really, like, let's focus on what's important, and what you're saying is not really that important. Is that accurate?
Yes.
Now, can you tell us why you think that your mother, in the most, like with the most understanding and compassion, which you already have so much of that, why would you say with understanding and compassion, your mother was responding like that?
Well, emotions were very uncomfortable for her. And it's interesting because she's a Cancer. It's supposed to be, kind of more in that emotional field. But my mother's mother was an orphan.
Okay, wait a second. It's going to get long. I have to sort of rein it in a little bit.
The thing that I got to was,
Rochelle, let me just interrupt you. And I don't want to do what your mom's doing. I really want to get to the root of it, but I just want to guide you a little bit so we can understand. Do you feel like you can forgive your mother for being not ready to hear who you were?
Oh yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And that's all. I was just going to say that one quick thing was that I was mothered by a mom who didn't have a mom, or I was mothered by someone who's didn't have a mom who was mothering.
That's totally legitimate. Right? And that's totally legitimate because you're totally understanding that she had no frame of reference. Like probably the job that she did without having that mirrored for her was amazing, that she did as well as she could, and she did as well as she did with you. Okay. So what we're trying to get to is a point. Are you at the point where you could now just send her forgiveness for not understanding you at your core, being sensitive, being acknowledged for who you are and all the gifts you are, and as a child, everything that you needed and wanted to say?
Yes.
Wonderful. So just go ahead and just take a moment to send her all of that forgiveness and energy, and even just say that to her in your mind's eye. Okay. Now, does that feel complete?
Yes.
Now, what we're going to do, part of this process is you are allowed, now that you're able to forgive, to completely recreate this experience in your childhood as you would have liked your mother to have been there for you. And in this way, you travel back in time and create a new experience which will become the referential point for you in the present time. So you're literally traveling back in time to change the experience for it to benefit you in the present moment. Does it make sense?
Yeah, it does.
So let's go ahead and imagine you're just walking into the room. What, if you had to just make up an age, what age would you say this would be most relevant at?
Well, I'd say 6 or 7.
6 or 7 years old.
6 or 7, yeah.
Let's just choose 6. You're 6 years old. You're walking into the room. You have you just noticed how the dog is feeling. In fact, you read the dog completely correctly as an empath. And what do you say to your mom about, and you can tell her or anyone, what would you say to your mom at that moment?
That I can tell how the dog is feeling, and she has anxiety because we moved and she's not comfortable, and she's feeling our anxiety. She's acting out the unspoken stuff in the family. Everybody's transition anxiety.
Now, I want you to speak the words of your mother and imagine in your mind's eye what she says to you that you would have liked to experience in that moment. And when you're ready, will you share some of that, what she's saying to you?
Yeah, I think just, how does that feel for you? And how do you know? Tell me how you know.
And what do you say to her?
Well, I think that would have been a much earlier
this is completely
experience articulating.
You get to write this story exactly like we want you to even amp it up and really like this is complete make-believe. So let me just give you some a little bit of ideas of and you'll just enhance from there. It'd be more like, oh my gosh, what's going on with the dog? Tell us more. What is the dog experiencing?
Yeah, draw it. Tell us.
Tell me, what's the dog experiencing?
Oh, right. I would answer that Lucy feels she's taking on all of the unspoken stuff about how people are unhappy or stressed or not enjoying this move, or internalizing the angst between my mom and my dad during the move, and the stress. Yeah, that's what the dog is
wonderful feeling. My dear, it sounds like you have a special gift inside of you. It sounds like you're sensitive, like you're able to hear and experience the emotions of others. Is that something you're experiencing with the dog?
Yes, definitely.
How wonderful. What a gift that you have. How much I want to celebrate this gift in you. That is amazing. What incredible, good fortune that you have so much sensitivity and understanding of others.
Yeah, I definitely would have felt more seen.
I think having sensitivity is a gift and something that we want to encourage you. It's a lovely thing, means that you're very heart-centered and deeply care about others so much that you would actually allow yourself to feel their feelings of what they're going through. I want to learn more about this and more about what you're experiencing. Will you tell me? So this is what we want to continue to reimagine in our mind's eye, especially about how sensitivity is wonderful and positive and to be celebrated. What a gift, what a wonderful thing, what a gift you are to us. And we want to receive you with all love and appreciation about who you completely are as a person, including this empathic ability.
Yeah, that's, that's beautiful. That would be
you know, I love
It's yours to claim, and all you need to do is just completely keep seeing that vision. There will be some resistance in the beginning, and what you can do is you can, just like you were taking several takes in a movie, you can keep redoing it. Cut. Let's do that one again. Bring the mom back in. This time we want her to be warmer and more sincere. And then you just keep seeing it. As you do that, you are literally transforming yourself at a cellular level, because you're now recognizing that in the course of your human evolution, you came into this life to experience a lesson. That was the lesson, maybe for you to take back your power from your mother. She doesn't have to acknowledge me. I learned that. It was very painful. Now we go back and we actually completely recreate the situation so that we no longer have to go back to the memory that was painful, but we actually get to create that which we want in this moment, and even in recreating the past. Because as we remember the past, it circles and drips into our current moment. So if we create that past experience with all the positivity in the story, it becomes us in the now, and we can transcend these things which are blocking us. And part of your feeling this I'm sensitive, and I this oversensitivity of the immune system has its inception point, some of it, in this experience as a child. Does that make sense?
It absolutely does. And I don't know why we have a new puppy, so being empathic with the dog has come up, has come up. But the really awful part about that example is that the dog was totally internalizing all of our stress. And instead of managing it and confronting it and dealing with it, what dogs do when they're stressed, they chew. And so they put Lucy in the basement, and she was repeatedly kind of chewing on a piece of the stairs. And they had her put down, and they didn't even let us say goodbye. And then they said she didn't handle the transition well. And so,
I mean, there's a lot of instances that so part of our affirmational process in the personal is to go back to a lot of these painful pieces, and because of how it impacts, like I can even feel the pain myself when you tell that story, is to actually go back for your own healing, completely forgive your parents for what they did, and actually create a new memory, which is that they did pay attention to the dog. The dog was well taken care of. It had a good life. It sounds like you're making up a lie, but you're not, because you're freeing yourself in the present moment. Because everything happened for a reason. That dog chose to have that experience for a reason. The parents did, your mom did, your dad did. And there were some real problems there that your parents were obviously suffering. We just want to forgive them. Ultimately the dog crossed over the rainbow bridge. It was okay. The dog spirit is free now. So we can even make up a remembrance of that for our own healing at that deep cellular level, that somehow the dog's needs were addressed. We breathe, we feel better. We see the dog being cared for. We breathe again. This is like sort of healing all of those empty spaces, all of those really the pieces that we, can't breathe into, that we can't be fully here and present because of those past wounds. And this is a method of being able to free ourselves from them, so we can literally and figuratively move forward, as you've talked about wanting to do. Yeah. So then we go to the memory, we recreate the memory, and then we think about a reversal of the sentence and the thought that we've been thinking. So something related to my system is hypersensitive. What would be a reversal or a turnaround or an opposite of that?
I'm capable of taking in a lot of information that I can sort through and manage.
Let's make it really, really simple. I'm actually asking almost a too simple question. So I'm maybe not being, let me make it like super crisp. Is I am hypersensitive. What would be the exact opposite of that statement?
That I'm not.
Exactly. Yes, exactly. So now we take that. If you're not hypersensitive, what kind of sensitive are you?
appropriately sensitive.
Exactly. Totally. High five. You got it. Exactly. And let's put that into some type of a sentence, or even just like, I am perfectly appropriately sensitive for who I am. Any way you'd like to change that?
Okay.
I am perfectly sensitive, maybe in my body and my immune system for who I am. And you're welcome to make changes to that.
Okay. I was just thinking maybe it's not grammatically to say like, but I'm perfectly appropriately sensitive.
There's something about appropriate that really is
Yeah.
important to you. I'm perfectly appropriately sensitive, and I'm with you all the way. I'm perfectly appropriately sensitive.
Yeah, I think it was because it wasn't my mom would just say it's not appropriate if I would share something about what I was seeing or experiencing. Oh, that's not appropriate to talk about someone or whatever. So that's
I love it. That's really significant, is to claim back that language. I am perfectly appropriately sensitive in my body. Perfectly. And it's so true. Like, your sensitivity is so valuable. It is such a sign of being so heart-centered, of having compassion, wanting to help other people. I am perfectly appropriately sensitive in my body. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's great.
When you say the sentence, I am perfectly appropriately sensitive in my body, what emotion do you experience?
It feels like an empowerment, like a reclaiming. It feels
wonderful.
Like, I guess, safe.
Guess what?
Emotion of safety.
Safety. That's lovely. No, that's great. Is there any place in your body where you can feel this safety?
Yeah, it's very solar plexus.
Solar
Which I know
plexus, about the empowerment, feeling empowered,
right,
like you said.
yeah, it is. The first chakra I know is about safety and security, but it feels more third chakra, solar plexus.
Very good. And what does it like to feel? What does it feel like to be in your body experiencing, I am perfectly appropriately sensitive in my body?
Yeah, it feels it's interesting. It's almost like it's turned my boundaries on. Like, I feel more
Wow.
bound.
Wow. Tell us a little bit about that. That's wonderful.
I just thinking it, feeling the words, it's like I suddenly, I just feel like I can, it's always been, if any other empaths are listening, it's such a journey to work on your boundaries, as it is for anyone, but certainly even more for empaths. It just felt like my boundaries got turned on, like I hit some magic code word somehow.
It's really interesting. It's beautiful. And there's something that's really a logical next step that I want to ask you in relation to that. What I experienced just in this process is this deep relaxation and almost a new sense of being still and grounded. Did you experience any of that?
Yeah, absolutely. I feel more fully embodied, especially in that third chakra space, just kind of seated.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, if we go into that, what is the next, because you talked about sort of being empowered, what's the next statement? If you let that statement sort of flower into a new statement, I am perfectly appropriately sensitive. Is there a new affirmation or statement, even about boundaries, that wants to come forth?
What comes out is I'm fully in control of how I take in and process the world around me.
Very nice.
Or maybe of how I interact with the world around me.
Okay, I'm fully in control of how I interact with the world around me.
Yeah, and I even added how I interact and respond to the world around me.
Okay, tell us more about that.
I think just, you go out into the world and you're interacting, but the second piece, this is also long-standing learning as an empath, is that you do have control. You can, bring in violet light to cleanse, or, you can bring in white light to protect, or, that you have ways of shifting your experience in response to what you encounter, It feels
Sounds like
empowering.
you have more confidence in talking about those things to other people.
Yeah, I mean, that's been my journey, is to reclaim, well, first to learn. I think that's the biggest thing, is we're not, and why I love you and what you do in this community is we have not been taught that we're energetic and that we're more light being than we are physical and matter. So if you don't have a language and you don't have, it's just, just thinking about being in a foreign place and not understanding a single written word or a single thing anybody speaks, and you're trying to, so I feel like it's been a long way of learning the language. And so, yeah, I do feel like the statement needs to be like, not just I'm fully in control, and not just I'm fully in control of interacting and managing the interaction, but I'm also in control of how I respond to the world around me.
I'm fully in control of how I respond to the world around me.
Right. Which also puts it on me to make sure that I'm the one in control of it, and not having unconsciously taken on something that's not mine and then acting it out, or taking it out on a loved one, or any of those things that can happen when we hold energy that's not ours.
I think that that's powerful, because it goes back to something that you talked about, which was, I haven't really been able to move forward because I'm an empath, and because of all the stress that other people have experienced,
Right.
I have felt that, and that has prevented me from moving forward.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a much more empowered, it's
So
kind of the place I want to get to.
if I am fully in control of how I respond to the world around me, if I'm fully in control of that, then we could have another pandemic with people freaking out all over the place. And you could be like, well, they're freaking out, but actually I'm moving forward and doing what I need to do.
Exactly.
So that's a really interesting navigation for you personally.
Yep. That's where I needed to get. It's good to put it into words. And it's like I could have thought that before. And I was really, and to the point you just made, the same thing. It's like, oh, what is this going to be? And up and down, how long is it going to take for people to get, figured out? But it's like, I was just trying to march forward, but there was a lack of cohesion in it. But it wasn't capable of the follow through. Maybe I didn't fully trust that was true for me. But, as we do the reworking and realizing there's some piece of the mechanics of sensitivity and boundaries and acknowledging it, owning it, all of those things that I think we got out here that's really valuable. So thank you. That's huge.
When you say the sentence, I am fully in control of how I respond to the world around me, what emotion do you feel?
It's neutrality, like the good kind of juicy, everyone wants to get to it, neutrality, like the best place you could be, because everything stems from there. But you can't really even go into true bliss and joy and everything without being in that place of acknowledging and owning and
Okay, so
creating.
that neutrality is sort of like an equanimity, like an even
Yes.
space or a 0 point. And
Right.
how do you experience that equanimity, neutrality? Where can you find it in your body?
It's more heart-centered.
I thought you were going to say heart-centered. Wonderful. So you feel it in your heart. So just go ahead and just anchor it and feel it in your heart now. Now it's interesting because that reminds me of a neutrality, sort of a piece that would allow energy to come in to allow you to have that creative life flow.
Right. Yeah, that's what it feels like clearing the decks in a way to allow what needs to come in or what you're calling in, like it's their space.
When you think the thought, I'm fully in control of how I respond to the world around me, is there a next logical sort of amped up affirmation or thought that comes to mind?
Yeah, that I am the alchemist of my experience.
And tell us more about that, what that means.
That, that being an alchemist, being able to turn anything, to transform anything. Yeah, just being truly knowing and embodying that truth that everything is my manifestation and creation.
Can you take that, I am the alchemist of my experience, and tell us another affirmation about your ability to heal your body?
I am the creator of my wellness.
Okay. And let's go back to, I am the alchemist of my experience, and tell us about your ability to create vitality and experience creative flow in your body.
I would just say that coming, that this experience of coming into equanimity and then creation and direction from that point. Yeah, how the experience of alchemizing. So, if it's
And let's do it another way. Let me just try it another way. Let's just have you say it 3 times out loud. And then what I want to is, based on that feeling, we'll go for, well, actually, let's just have you do that. So I'm just gonna have you say it 3 times out loud. And each time try to say it with more sort of as you're feeling it, if there's more feeling behind it. So the sentence is, or the affirmational statement is, I am the alchemist of my experience.
Okay. I am the alchemist of my experience. I am the alchemist of my experience. I am the alchemist of my experience.
Okay, try it a little bit like this, from your solar plexus and your heart both combined. I am the alchemist of my experience.
I am the alchemist of my experience.
Okay. And is there one other bubbling up sentence or sentiment that comes from that?
Yeah, it's just that it's a creation instead of a reaction. I think so much of the oversensitivity, and the pattern of needing to acknowledge the reaction I was having, instead of coming into a place of empowerment and realizing that I can create. So if there's something that's happening, I can be attuned to it or aware of it, but it doesn't have to be an experience that
I think that is a huge realization. I am the creative force, right, versus the reactionary force. Right. I am the creative force.
Yes.
Versus the reactionary force. That's hugely powerful. What we've been doing over this time is creating a series of affirmational statements for you to say until we sort of visit with you again next week. We'd love to hear just your observations and anything you notice physically over the week. So our medicine for you has been about 6 affirmations that I'm going to send to you and ask you to just repeat them repeating each one 3 times would be enough. So you've got 6, I think, affirmations, repeating each one out loud 3 times. Even just once a day would be totally sufficient. And you can even tell us if there's one that attracts you or draws you more, you can say it more. We've got, I am perfectly appropriately sensitive in my body, and you don't have to write them down. I will absolutely get them to you, or you can if you want to. I am fully in control of how I take in, how I interact with the world around me. I am fully in control of how I respond to the world around me.
Yeah.
I am the alchemist of my experience. I am the creator of my wellness, and I am the creative force in my life versus the reactive force.
Mm-hmm. That's huge. Because I've known that intellectually, but to feel it in the body is a completely different experience. So it'll be beautiful to embody it through the use of my own voice. And
it really is through our physical, the issues that we have physically, that we can learn so much about ourselves, and it can propel us forward. So in some ways we can just, be thankful. I'm thankful I had this plantar fasciitis, or, sprained my knee, or had the Hashimoto's, or had this, because it allowed me to be propelled forward in my life into this new dynamic.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's just, it's amazing to feel that shift. It's like all the cells in my body are sort of like, oh, we're under different management now.
So and I do believe that actually you have a wonderful ability to really be that creative force in your life, and to be incredibly transformational in your life. So we'd love to just have you observe anything, even just in the hours after our session together today. It's just sort of write down your thoughts, because that's when a lot of the new awarenesses start to come. Drink a lot of water, and then we'll ask you to come back next week so we can hear anything that sort of percolated up for you. And certainly in the meantime, in between that time, email me with any observations or thoughts.
Great. Definitely.
And just in this moment, is there anything else either in your body or in your awareness that you'd like to share with us?
I think just a deep sense of gratitude. I just have a sense of everyone doing their piece and their work in the world and trying to help others do it. And I have a lot of gratitude for that kind of community. And I don't know how other people in the community feel, but not everybody is interested in sitting around and talking about all this and trying to get at something that could shift our way and take some of the boulders out of our path. And so I'm just deeply grateful for fellow seekers and people who are on their paths and trying to help others themselves.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's a great tribe that wants to do that. And the
beautiful
community of that. So Rochelle, thank you so much for being part. You're the perfect person to be part of our community sharing today. So thank you. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you. Thanks.
All right. Well, we'll talk soon for sure, and check in with you and see how you're doing along the way. Thank you.
Thank you.
Wonderful. So now we're going to invite up Ariel. Also, in the moment, I know we lost some people along the way. I'll tell you this, it is a bit of a long process, but it's important. Like, that was an hour, but if you think about an hour therapy session is pretty normal in terms of timing. And it does take time. Like, we took some time to explain the process. We took some time to really unwind it. And so about an hour is pretty much a good expectation for for working with someone in this process. And Rochelle was just a wonderful person to work with us, because she was really ready to just go for it and get in there and just be so honest with herself and honest with us. So I just really thank her for her courage and being part of this. It was really fantastic. And we do have time for another person. So, but with that said, I understand some of you may need to go. So if you need to jump off and go, or we're actually live streaming this, so you can watch it on Zoom if you need to jump off, and then we're going to have the recording and we'll share that with the community. But I'd love to know, anybody has a feedback about the process. Did you understand it? Was that process that we were doing, did it make sense? Any other things that you want to share about it? And let's see. All right, so all right, I think a lot of people on here, and it's interesting, whenever we come together, there's always different things that we're dealing with that we can recognize in that other person. There's just sort of no accident that we're arriving here at a certain time. So I think a lot of people really empathized and understood and recognized a lot of themselves in what Rochelle was going through. So that's wonderful as well. Well, let's invite Ariel if she's still with us. First, let's see if she's still here, because I know it's getting late in the UK as well. All right, so she jumped off. She was here, and then we said she wasn't here, and then she was here. So Connie, if you want to jump in and be a part of this today, if you feel ready. If not, if you don't feel ready to work today, we could have you work next week, and we can work with Patty instead. So let's see what wants to come forward. And Cheryl says it's important to leave out rather than reactive because it is not wanted and the brain confuses, as does not take in a negative. So I don't remember when she said that, rather than reacting in life. I don't really think rather than reacting is considered necessarily a negative. But it's an interesting subtlety, and you certainly can formulate your affirmations as you wish, Cheryl, to tweak that. It is particularly when we say, I won't react, or I will no longer react, that the mind is recognizing the negative. The mind is a tricky thing, but I don't think it's exactly like that. So Patty, let's bring you on, and then we'll invite Connie. If you want to be part of next week, Connie, then let me know. You'd be maybe more prepared, or maybe want to take some time to contemplate what you want. And then we'll still have a second spot open. So we'll contact Ariel, see if she just sort of turned in for the night because it's quite late in the UK. I don't know, or we'll invite in somebody else, see if somebody else wants to join us for next week. Okay. So Connie, yeah, I think we'll have you next week. So Patty, I'm going to have you come up as a therapist. A total affirmation needs to be what is wanted. I'm a clinical hypnotherapist. Okay, well, Cheryl, thank you for sharing your expertise as a clinical hypnotherapist. I do appreciate it very, very much. So let's go ahead and bring up Patty. Patty has been a part of our class, and she can also speak to some transformation that has happened for her as she's gone through the class itself. And then we can work with her in a new process, see where she's at, where she's ready to go. Hey, Patty, how are you, my dear?
I'm good, thank you.
We're not quite seeing you on camera, though. We're seeing your chair. There we go. Okay.
I can't see myself. I don't know why. And I'm on the sofa, so I don't have my stand.
Okay, well, we see you. We see you fine. We see you just fine. So you're fine. Okay, now tell us just first, just a little bit about what changes you've made since you started the class, or what you've experienced in yourself since knowing the process, based on some of the work that we did together in our one-on-one session, and some things that you did in class.
Okay, there's been lots of changes and lots of things I've learned. So one of the biggest things I learned is letting my thoughts run and get out of control. And Ariel described this as puppies like running away. So I can't let my brain just have all these thoughts and not take control of my thoughts. So I'm learning to take better control of my thoughts. And I was already doing meditations, but I'm doing more meditations and visualizing rewriting my story. And so I'm working on having vibrant health and vitality, and I'm a miracle I'm alive. So one of the things I have really worked on with Ariel is I'm using the affirmation, all is well.
And what has resulted from saying that affirmation?
I feel calmer and I feel more safe. I don't feel as scared. And the other thing that I'm saying is I am thankful and blessed that I am completely safe in my own body.
And what has resulted from saying that affirmation?
I feel better. I don't feel as scared. I don't feel as alone.
That's beautiful. That's amazing. And the puppies that we referred to is more in the more along the lines of that the thoughts that get out of control, that our thoughts are, if we don't take control of our thoughts and think things with intention that we want to create, then the mind is like sort of like puppies just running all over the place, doing whatever they want to do. And we can train the mind because whatever we think, we will experience. And whatever we want to experience and want to have this different experience of life, we have to keep thinking the thought over and over and over and over and over again, because as a default, those negative thoughts will tend to creep in, almost like entropy, which we talked about, sort of like this Shiva in the Hindu tradition, dancing on the demon of forgetfulness. And we forget who we are and we think those thoughts, and they can kind of creep in and develop their own momentum. So to work against that, sort of in contra to that, we speak the positive thoughts over and over again as a habit. And in this process, we discover the most beneficial positive thoughts. And also we work through the blockages we may have to manifesting that thought or wish through this process that we're demonstrating today. So Patty, you've done exceptionally well. And I think we can share with, the audience that, like, you haven't had it easy. You've been through some really challenging and amazing things in your life, and have persevered to the point where I think you were told by doctors that you wouldn't survive or you wouldn't be able to do certain things. Do you want to share any of that with us?
Sure. I'm going to attempt to condense this, but anyway, I'm a miracle. I'm alive. And I've been through two pretty horrific things that I overcame, and the natural medical world said that I wouldn't. So in 2011, I was extremely ill, and I used to exercise every day and thought I was a picture of health. But because of all the stress in my life, which was excessive, I developed a paralyzed stomach, which is called gastroparesis. And I couldn't eat. I couldn't even swallow one drop of water. I felt like I ate 20 Big Macs. The pain was ungodly. The nausea was horrible. I couldn't eat. I ended up in the hospital time after time after time. Went to the Cleveland Clinic, and 16 doctors there laughed at me and said that I was just going to die and never eat again. And then one time I was in the hospital, and a doctor came in that goes around to see people at the end of their lives, and she wrote me like 3 or 4 prescriptions, and she's like, "Oh, honey, these are just gonna make you feel really comfortable and let you go in ease." Well, I'm a doctor myself, and I'm a nurse, and I knew if I took one of those, I would quit breathing because I was so weak I couldn't talk. So I knew that I would die. So I didn't do that. But my old boyfriend of 7 years is one of the top brain researchers in the world, and he told me to get to this lady, and she's fabulous and works with GI patients. So she's the only person that told me that I would eat again and live. But I had to get out of the stress. I had to go home and be by myself, and I couldn't hold my head up. So I did visualizations. I did meditations, visualizations, hypnotics. I listened to healing scriptures. I just stood on those words, and I would see myself well. And I've studied the brain for like about 30 something years. So I know the brain is extremely powerful. So through all of that, I can tell you just horror stories after horror stories that I went through and what happened to me. They found me unresponsive. I would have been dead in 5 minutes. I was septic. They kept me.
What do you think is within you that has created such an ability to persevere?
Well, I don't know really how to say it in words, but I have a very strong will to live, and I love life. And I enjoy life so much. I love helping people. So I feel like I just had this will to live that was just huge, and that no matter what, I was going to live. And I actually did. In 2015, I took my own tube feeding pump out at home. And until my mother just died in October, and I fell and fractured my ankle the Tuesday after her funeral on Friday. And then I was bedridden and I developed all these GI issues in my epigastric area. And plus, I need to get stronger from everything because I never had time to get into physical therapy because I started taking care of my dad and running a hospital at home. And then it was my mom. My dad couldn't even walk. So I put my own life in front of my mom and dad. And then I think, well, I'm finally going to get to focus on myself. And I've used the Genius Insight for over a year. And there are many times I've thought that probably I would have died without it and without my will. So during this manifestation program, it's like reinforced everything I already knew, plus it's taken it to a higher level. And I'm eating better. I still need to eat better without pain, and I still need to get stronger and be healthy. And one of the things I really need help with is when all the stress is coming in around me that I'm not responding. And the other thing that I would like to share is I was adopted at birth, and my birth mother never saw me. I was abruptly taken away from her. So a lot of my issues I feel like stem from abandonment, not feeling wanted, not feeling lovable, things like that. So with Ariel in this program we've been in, I think it's fabulous. I recommend this program for everybody. It's been more than I imagined because I even went back and I got the video on the Limbic recording, and I went back and went through my birthing process, and I rewrote in my mind. I made like a new movie of how I want my perfect mother and father to be. So it even started before I was conceived to the point of after, as a child and even growing up and how I wanted things to be. And I had done this in the past, but it seems like it's more, maybe the word is embedded in me, or I don't know if I'm more open to it or what, but this has really helped me because I've gone back and I've worked on the process of forgiving my birth mother, my birth father, my adopted mother, my adopted father, and I can't talk to them
through this process that we've been doing of going back and looking at the inception point and then being willing to forgive them.
Yes. And so it felt like just boulders off of my shoulders.
That is wonderful. That is so great. It's because of your willingness to understand, have compassion for them, that you free yourself, because everybody was just trying the best with what they knew at that time. There's very few exceptions to that, I believe. And then were you able to recreate some of those experiences as you would have wanted them to be?
Oh, exactly. I redo like my perfect mother. And sometimes now when I do my meditations, or I do a qigong, it's a healing qigong. I imagine being in an environment that's beautiful, and I imagine it being there, and I just say all of my moms. And like now I'm like happy that I'm like, it's my birth mother, my adopted mother, and my mother that is how I would want her to be in a perfect world if
That's
I could
great.
on. So it's like a good feeling because I feel comforted and I'm thinking, oh, I have 3 people to love me now.
That's really nice. That's amazing. Yeah, that's very creative. And Patty, that's awesome. It's hard to even express how important that work has been for you, how it can change your life to be able to recreate. In a lot of ways, we have chosen everything in our life, and the process of going back and recreating the memory is an expression of our personal power in a very real way. And we're taking responsibility and saying, I'm going to create it now in this way that will benefit me now in this moment, and then moving forward. So thank you so much for that. What should we work on for you today?
I don't know the best thing, but I still need to work on vibrant health and vitality, and I need to work on being stronger. I've just had tons and tons of stressful things going on all around me. So I don't know what you think is the best.
Okay, so you want to work on being stronger. What does that mean to you?
I need to have more strength. I don't
More strength?
want to feel weak. So I want to feel
Is it a
strong.
physical strength or is it a mental strength?
Both, but mostly physical. I feel like there's been so much stress around me in the last 2 weeks. I feel like a like a hurricane just came in or something. So I feel like I've just been on survival mode, even with everything I'm doing, and I just feel so exhausted. So I haven't even had enough strength in the last couple of weeks to even get
Is
to
it
go.
is it strength or is it energy? What, describe it a little bit more so that I can understand it.
Okay, I want to go to physical therapy, but I haven't even had the strength to get in my car and go because I've been dealing with all these issues at my mom's house and people around me and problems and issues. I found out that somebody didn't have life insurance to cover a loan I gave them. It's just been a lot. So I'm not even strong enough to get in the car and drive to physical therapy by the time I do everything else. It's like,
Okay, wait. Because this is a recurring theme in the work that we've done together. It's strength, vitality, but it always alludes back to, how can I be stronger in the midst? How can I do better when, oh gosh, I hope we didn't lose her there.
no, I turned the
Okay.
video off because I can't hold this up any longer.
Oh, okay. How can I thrive even when the world around me is chaotic?
Perfect.
Because Patty, the theme of your life, whatever God has given you in this lifetime, is sort of repeated, where there's just a whole heck of a lot of challenging circumstances going on for you at one time. Was that correct?
Yes.
So I want to thrive. I want to thrive no matter what the circumstances or occurrences going on around me. Is that correct?
Yes. And it's also kind of like, I believe her name is Rochelle said, I feel like I take a couple steps forward and then I'm going, a couple steps back. And sometimes I go more steps back than forward, although I am better.
So that's more related to the challenges. So we'll get to this in a minute. The reason that you take is the reason that you take steps back because of the circumstances of things going on around you.
Yes, I feel like when I awaken in the morning, I have X amount of energy. And I feel like it's not normal energy. It's very minimal energy. And I can spend it any way I want. Well, I want to spend it on positive things and getting stronger, doing exercises, walking. But when I have to put all these fires out, I use my energy. And I don't want that to take all my energy. So then I don't have energy to exercise and do the things I need to do to get my body conditioned.
Okay, let me just get these all down here because I hear a lot of things. So what has been the greatest challenge for you around getting well? If you could make something up, what do you think the number one obstacle is to you getting well right away?
The first word that comes to mind is all the stress. But that includes all the struggling and conflicts and all the things I've had to take care of by myself.
So you mean all the struggling and conflicts of other people?
Right. Well, yes. And even with my own health, I felt like I didn't have very much help, and I was by myself for a whole year when I couldn't even eat or brush my teeth. I had to crawl to even get my tube feeding pump. But my doctor said that was the only chance I had to live. I had to get out of those people that were causing so much stress in my life.
But
And
it's
that
always the theme of what other people's chaos, disorganization, and things that are going on with them. Is that right? Is that the current theme?
Yes. So definitely I tell myself it's all the stress. If I could get away from all the stress, then I can heal
So
myself.
stress is the obstacle.
Yes.
So is stress something that is true, or is stress something that we experience through our mind, how our mind interprets the stress?
It's how my mind interprets the stress.
Okay, very, very good. You're doing fantastic. You're doing great. Tell me some of the thoughts you have around your body's ability to deal with, tell me your thoughts about your body's ability to have a good, solid amount of energy.
I think and tell myself to have a good amount of energy, I can't have all the stress in my life and sleep. And one of the things that I want to share with you is it's not just me, it's like every people who know me, and even the doctor I worked with, she's like, I've never seen anybody have as much chaos and conflict and stress. She's like, I wasn't even going to work with you because you were so close to death. And she said, I can't believe, nobody around me can believe the things that happen. So she's like, when people tell you, oh, one person's a little, something little to them can be a lot of stress, and somebody else can have huge amounts of stressors and it's little. She's like, you have massive, massive, massive amount of stressors to anyone. So I don't think, and I may overreact some to it, and I'm sure I play the record in my head over and over, which I'm attempting to not do that. And I'm tempting to say, okay, I'm a giant, and all these little things are like little ants. I have to look at them under a microscope. I can handle them. However, I still feel like I need to sleep, I need rest, and I need to take care of myself.
Okay, so I cannot have an adequate amount of energy because I have too much chaos, conflict, and stress in my life, which never gets better. It's just always there. Is that right? Is that what you're experiencing?
Well, okay, sometimes it gets better, but then it seems like these things just come and hit me, like I just get bombarded
So it
from
doesn't get
nowhere
better.
with
So it just
things.
it always it is like you might have like a vacation or a rest period, and then it then just goes again.
Correct.
You can't get stability. Is that right? Hello?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Just trying to get it correct. Okay, so close your eyes, just sort of relax a little bit. We're going to go back. We're going to gently float back to the first time that you can recall in your childhood experiencing, I can't even have enough energy to participate in life because I have so much chaos and conflict and stress. What do you see?
There are two things that come up hugely for me. And one is I feel like when all this
Try to
started when
tell
I
me
was in
about the
my
one that's the
mother's,
most important. Tell me about the one that's the most important that you need to tell me about.
being in my mother's uterus. I think that's where it started.
Okay, but this is something you have a real, tell me about the one that you're more likely to have a true memory of. That
I
can
think
be a
it was
true
when I was
memory, but were
4
you
years
actually remembering? Go ahead.
when I was 4 years old.
Okay, tell me. That's perfect. Go for it. What do you see? What's happening?
My grandfather sexually abused me. He didn't penetrate me, but he sexually abused me, and I didn't know what was going on. And I didn't tell anybody till I was older. And my mother, who swore how much she loved me and would do anything and everything for me, when I did tell my mom when I was older, she never told my father. My father didn't even know until right before he died, and I just started screaming and told him. So it made me feel like how it made me feel abandoned again, and it made me feel, how can somebody say they love me but not stand up for me?
Okay, how could some, but that, what's the chaos part? Because there's always chaos and conflict and stress. Where is the part of the inception point where there's chaos? Is that is a lot of chaos and conflict? Is it the chaos of all the family members? What I imagine is that throughout your childhood, there was just constant chaos, conflict, and stress. Is that sort of accurate?
Well, I think part of the conflict or struggling is I felt like I was struggling myself. My parents may have been struggling financially. They were workaholics and they were struggling financially. They didn't struggle between the two of them. They had a fabulous marriage. But I think the struggles come from feeling loved and and feeling abandoned.
Yeah,
So it was like
I hear that. So even though it's not only that you have chaos and conflict and stress, but you're kind of always on your own trying to deal with it.
yes.
Okay.
So it
So
was
let's
multiple types of struggling.
try to see one place where you're feeling, and that we can go to that place again, where you're feeling chaos around you, conflict and stress. You're a little girl. You feel you're in your family, but you feel alone. Can you see one incident or even make up an incident like that? If it's the same one, that's fine.
Okay, well, several times I felt like my mom and dad just worked nonstop from the time they got up and went to bed, and yet my mother still took really great care of me, but I felt like they didn't complain, but there was emotions that I felt of them struggling so much to make ends meet. As a child, I experienced that a lot. And
Okay,
then I
so they were very, very busy trying to just do the basics of survival. So of course it was like, we can't give all this attention to this kid. I mean, we're busy just even trying to survive.
and yet my mother gave, I don't even know how she gave me the attention she did with everything
She
she
did.
did.
Okay. So what was the missing piece for you where you felt abandoned?
Well, I felt abandoned at birth because they abruptly took me away from my mother. And then when this
But what was
happened,
the theme? Where was all right, so let's just go to that place. That's totally, that's an important place. So I think that's not the right one though. Is there another incident though that we can think of? Because that's not about your mother. That's about the people who took you away. I think it'd be better. Can you think of another time you're experiencing chaos around you, but you don't feel, you feel like almost like a little alien in your own place, like you're sort of separate from everything going on around you. Everything's just happening around you, but you're not really a part of it. Can you see one part when you're 3, when you're 4, when you're 5? Can you see something that's happening?
well, I'm going back to when my grandfather sexually abused me. I felt
Okay.
like I was totally on my own.
Okay, got it.
I wasn't safe. And I was being abandoned again because I was supposed to be surrounded by all these people that love me, but yet this was happening to me.
Okay, are you ready to forgive your grandfather for something which is really unforgivable in a lot of ways, but understand that there must have been something, maybe he was sexually abused, maybe something wrong with him, something from his past, he didn't know how to conduct himself. Are you able to forgive him?
Yes, and I even did the process with him, and I went back and rewrote my story with my grandfather.
Okay, so tell us the story.
Um, well, the story starts that he was very lonely and lived.
Oh, no,
I,
tell us how you recreated, and has to
oh,
be
how,
so short. Yeah.
okay, I'm sorry. That I had the most amazing grandfather ever. He was just fabulous. And he used to take me on trips with my dad, and he loved my dad so much, and he was great to my
And
mom.
he must have had good boundaries
Right.
and been
And
able to conduct himself in an appropriate way.
exactly. And it was
Mhm.
all positive stuff. And he loved me, and that he looked out for me, and he took care of me, and he looked for my well-being, and he was there for me in a positive way. So, and I loved being around him.
That's very, very good. So in that re-experience, what affirmation comes to mind about sort of chaos and stress and being alone?
Like an affirmation that I would make that's positive.
Well, the reversal would be that the statement is, there is chaos, there is constant chaos, and I am alone in trying to deal with that chaos. So what would be the reversal of that?
Well, one thing is I'm not alone.
And what would be the reversal when you say I'm not alone? How can we say that without a not experience? Like how is it in your experience that you're together, that you're joined, that you're with people, that how?
Okay. Well, when I say I'm not alone, I'm talking about from a spiritual standpoint because I became really spiritual during my
Okay,
really bad illness. So for
I am
me,
connected to spirit. I am not alone because I am connected to spirit. So how does it feel to be connected to spirit? When you go drop into your body, how does it feel to be connected to spirit?
it feels really good. But this is what I say. I say I have the power that raised Jesus from the dead inside of me, which is the Holy Spirit. So all things are possible. So I guess I need to condense that. But
We want to keep it. The thing is, that's why we have the process, the structure. That's very good. It's wonderful. But we're taking apart the statement, which is really weighing you down and causing you to not even have enough energy to run your life. And so what we're looking for is, what we started off with is, let me just remind myself, that I can't have all the energy I want in my life because I have chaos, conflict, and stress in my life, and I'm alone, okay, in experiencing it. So we have to sort of take this one by one. So I am not alone. I am connected through spirit. And when I think of being connected through spirit, then actually you're connecting yourself with an infinite source of energy. Do you experience that through your experience or perception of what spirit is, or what Jesus is, or what God is?
Yes, sometimes I do, and sometimes I have a hard time.
Okay.
But
Okay.
my whole goal is that I experience that I'm not alone, and that it's a warm feeling, and I imagine this love pouring into me and me being safe and loved, if that helps you. I'm
No,
safe.
but if you're safe and loved, then what is if you're safe and loved in that moment, and it's almost like the sun, a nice warm sunny day and the sun beaming down on you in that connection where you're not alone and you feel all this warmth, what will happen now if you get 17 phone calls about life insurance and this and that? What's going to happen in that moment?
It derails me and gets me out of that thought and that
How
feeling.
are we going to reverse it so that doesn't happen? What is the statement?
Okay. No matter what happens, I can stay connected
Yes.
to the Holy Spirit,
Yes.
and I am not alone.
Yes. No matter what happens, are you protected no matter what happens?
No matter what happens.
Are you okay no matter what the swirling hurricane that's going on right outside your door?
Yes.
When you're connected to spirit, yes. I mean, even if you die, you're going to be still connected to spirit, right?
Yes.
So can we think of a statement based on that? I am connected to spirit. I am always cared for and always I am connected to spirit, so therefore you're not alone. I am always cared for and always safe. Okay, what words would you like to give to it?
I'd already written down safe.
Oh, you did? Okay, I wrote it down too before you said it. Okay, I am connected to spirit. I am always cared for and always safe. When you say that word, when you say that statement, what emotion do you experience?
I feel happier. I feel more safe. I feel more at peace, and I feel ease.
That's great. And is there a place in your body that you experience it?
I have a hard time visualizing that, but sometimes I feel it in my heart, and maybe sometimes I just kind of feel it in my stomach or abdomen, or maybe solar plexus. But I think that the love part comes into my heart more.
Okay. Now, when you're imagining yourself, I'm connected to spirit. I'm always cared for and completely safe. As you're experiencing this, what happens to the vitality that you experience in your body?
I feel stronger. I don't feel as weighed down. I don't feel the weight of the world, like it's less.
Okay, let's take a deep breath. Give me another amped up statement. Tell me about your ability to have healthy energy in your body?
Okay, maybe don't write this yet, but I'm thinking. Say that one more time.
Tell me, we know I feel happier. I feel safe. I feel more at peace. I feel more at ease when I think the thought, I am connected to spirit. I am always cared for and always safe, no matter what is going on around me. No matter what is going on around me, I am always cared for. I am always safe, and I'm always connected. I'm never alone. Now, with that, feeling that, what can we say about your ability to have healthy energy in your body?
Okay, I'm going to say some different words and then I need your
That's
help.
okay. Go ahead. I won't write anything down. Go ahead.
Okay, first of all, I think I am an overcomer and my body is made to heal itself. Therefore, I have vibrant health and vitality with ease.
I have vibrant health and vitality with ease. Let's just try it on. When you say that statement, I have vibrant health and vitality with ease, what emotion do you experience?
I feel more relaxed and at peace.
Feel more relaxed and at peace. And even being more relaxed and at peace, that sort of allows more energy to come in.
Right. And this is one of the statements I've been using. I have vibrant health and vitality with ease. And another thing I've been saying is,
Okay, but before that, before the next statement, so if you have vibrant health and vitality with ease, where do you feel that in your body?
kind of in my shoulders and in my abdomen.
Hmm.
And I guess heart too, but it's like my shoulders start to relax.
Okay, very good. So let's just get into that. Your shoulders are relaxed. Oh, we need more space here. Shoulders are relaxed. The abdomen, you feel it in the abdomen. You're having vitality, more vibrant health. What would be the next statement that would come after I have vibrant health and vitality with ease? What is the statement that comes next?
Okay. Well, can I amp it up a little bit and just say,
Yeah, that's what I want you to do. Amp it up. What's the next amped up statement?
I'm so thankful and blessed, or how do I say it? I've got it written down. I am so thankful and excited that I have vibrant health and vitality with ease. And this is another thing I'm stating, but I don't know if I need to put this here or not, but I say, I am not afraid. I'm only love. I walk in light. That's
what we want to do is the thing is that with the amping up, we're always relating it back to the original statement. And it's like, sure, Patty, you've got vitality and ease, but you got 50 phone calls coming to you about all the stuff that's happening. It's like, so how do we bring that in? I have vitality. I have energy, no matter what is happening around me. I always stay centered in my connection to spirit, where I'm always cared for, and always safe. And that flows into my having vibrant health and vitality with ease, no matter what is going on around me. So that we have to sort of bring in that piece as well. Otherwise, it'll be very conditional. Like, sure, you're going to have tons of energy until tomorrow when whatever this thing is that happens. So does that make sense?
Yes, because that, just from what you just now said, I already felt so much better from what you just added to this.
So I'm so thankful and excited that I have vitality and vibrant health with ease.
Always.
And I need to make more space here. Always. And should we add no matter what is happening around me?
Yes.
Okay, so I am so thankful and excited that I have vitality and vibrant health with ease, always, no matter what is happening around me. What emotion do you experience when you think that thought?
I feel powerful. Like I'm the creator. I can create vibrant health and vitality.
You are the creator and you are powerful. What's another statement you could say about being so powerful in your creative process?
I create vibrant health. I easily create vibrant health.
I easily create vibrant health. There's an ease about it that's come in. I easily create vibrant health. Is there another statement that comes? Think about sustaining your vibrant health and your energy. What can you say about that?
I don't know exactly how I want to word this, but I always have more than enough energy no matter what happens.
I
No matter what.
always have, say it again,
I always have
maybe enough and even more energy that I need. Is that
Okay.
where you're going with that?
I said I always have more than enough energy.
Oh, more than enough. Okay, gotcha.
I always have more than enough energy no matter what happens. Do you like
Sure.
that?
Yeah.
No matter
I
what.
really like I really like where you're going, because let's even move beyond this. There was something that's so important, which is the next statement is like, I am the creator. Tell me about being the creator in your life.
I am the powerful creator of my life. Therefore, and I don't know how to say this either. Therefore, I can create anything I want. But that's like huge. So I don't know if I need to bring it down to therefore I can create vibrant health.
I think you should stick with that. I think it's really important because part of your experience of life has been a little bit similar to Rochelle, has been like the responder, like you're only the just brought a telemarketer into the class accidentally there, but I got rid of that. You're almost like been the responder in your life because of the external events. So you've been responding. And now you're moving yourself into the position where I'm the creator. I'm creating the circumstances, and I'm even creating how I may choose to stay strong no matter what the circumstances are.
Okay, so I've been telling myself for a few years I am the powerful creator of my life. However, I'm still not getting to where I want to be. So
but then we have to go back and see, so what's the reverse of I am the creator of my life? What's the reverse of that? I have no control over my life. So the next step for you would be to go back. We won't do it now. We can make another session for you and I, just because sort of we're at the 2-hour point. We want to sort of wrap things up, but that's the golden ticket right there, is you want to go back and find the place, the first inception point you can go to as a child where you weren't in control of your life. That's where it all rests.
And everything always goes back to being in my mother's uterus and being abruptly taken away from her at birth.
But you couldn't be abruptly taken away from her in the uterus. Well, let's just talk about what the uterus thing is. What is that?
I feel like there was conflict and struggle going on with her and all around her. So I was in knots all the time.
In the uterus?
Yes.
Well, I would definitely go back and I would do a reversal on that, where I re-experience it. You know, if you've done it already, you probably just need to go back. It's like a labyrinth, and you need to keep repeating it. Maybe just do a recording of yourself just speaking, you know, everything is like really peaceful. My mother is in a state of peace. She is helping to nurture me in the womb in a very helpful and beneficial way. And I'm growing, knowing that I'm safe and wanted in every moment. If you've done it already, you probably need to do it a couple of times and even record yourself saying it so you can listen to it back a few times.
Okay.
Because
How is
that was the origin of chaos and whatever was going on. It was a very powerful imprint. That frequency was imprinted to you at a very early time, and it's just continued to perpetuate throughout your life.
Right. And I was already thinking I need to make a recording and just play it over and over.
Well, you and I are, wow, we're on the same page there. I love it. What's the other part? So tell us about the part where you were taken away.
So at birth, I was abruptly taken away from her. She never got to hold me or see me. And I was at a Catholic hospital, so nuns took care of me until my mom and dad picked me up, and they really, really wanted me. So they got me, it was either 6 or 8 days old. So
what is your feeling about what you experienced during those 6 to 8 days of separation?
I felt absolutely freaked out, and it may be, this might be the story I'm making up, but that I felt absolutely freaked out. I felt totally out of control. I didn't know what was happening to me. It was just horrible.
I think that your feeling about the situation is totally legitimate, whether you're remembering it as an adult or whether that was your authentic experience as a child. That's a really important inception point, and it's probably going to take several remembrances of that, like do it once and then a week later do it again, and then a week later do it again, then a week later do it again, record it where you just say, my mother and father, they were there with me. I was not taken away. I was with them, because all the things that embodies, not feeling abandoned, right? Feeling like everything is okay, I'm sure that feeling of chaos. The nuns didn't know what they were doing, probably, maybe you were one nun to the next, or so who's taking care of this kid, who knows? And so that would definitely have been an inception point for that feeling of chaos. So I think forgiving whoever made that decision to do that, and then seeing yourself being placed into your mother's arms, and then they're both looking at you and you're being held and they're never leaving, they're totally with you. That's really an important remembrance for you to do.
And I do already feel better from doing the processes since we've started this with you. So I am, the feelings aren't as strong. And I feel like I have more forgiveness and understanding of my birth mother, why she did what she did. So I feel like I'm at a better place. I just am not where I want to be.
You're doing fantastic. As we've been talking, is there one more affirmation that comes to you about your energy and your ability to stay centered in the face of chaos?
I don't really know, because I work on this all the time and I can't really come up with something. So do you have any advice for me?
It's usually better just to work with the reversal, like as we're talking, and when you think the thought, what is the still emergent feeling about your ability to generate enough energy for life?
That it's impossible, because
it's impossible for you to have enough energy. So immediately you go into the reversal. It is possible for me to have enough energy.
Okay. It is possible for me to have enough energy to have vibrant health and vitality,
Right.
no matter what.
Right. Okay, I will get these affirmations for you as well, but I think the important thing from today, and let me just back up for a moment. You and I, we do 2 sessions one-on-one, or we did one-on-one session and several in class? Like, the place that you have come from and to is extraordinary. Like, it's amazing, because a lot of the interchange previous to this engagement was like, oh, and I got to tell you this, and then we got to work on this, and I'll probably never get to this. There was sort of this incredible like anxiety just in general, and you've really been able to just be more grounded, just stop and pause. Do you, as I observe you, do you experience some of that yourself?
Yes. And I'm also very tired today because I had a 2-hour session before I got on this. So my brain isn't real fresh, so I'm having a hard time focusing. But yes, and I think I could do better if I was more rested, but that's going back to my story. But
Yeah, no,
yes.
but I think that the thought processes that you've been doing have been profound and powerful. So I will write down your affirmations. I know you're heading in the right direction. You've come so far, and you're doing wonderful. There's this one saying that, so much time has passed, so little time remains. Don't slacken now. It's sort of an old story about our spiritual path. We've done so much. Like, don't slacken now. Like, keep up your momentum. You're doing so wonderfully. So, Patty, I'm really impressed with everything you've been able to accomplish. And let's stay focused on this concept of energy and how you're doing, and hear from you next week about sort of what is coming up for you next in your process.
Okay, sounds great. And thanks to you and everyone that's listening.
Yes, thank you for your courage and sharing your experience today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. I just know the mind is so powerful and that I can control and create just unbelievable things with my mind.
You're already there. What I would do, I would keep amping it up. Like, for example, like with your energy, it would be like, I have so much energy for my day. I am unstoppable in my energy. My energy is amazing. I have thriving, infinite amounts of energy. So try to amp that up even a little bit more, play with it, and then see what comes up, see what the resistances are. And that'll take you back to a new inception point. But you are meant to come into this world to be able to stand firm in the face of difficult circumstances, to make you spiritually stronger, more connected to spirit, and even more resilient and able to do even greater things.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, so we are getting to the place where we're concluding our session. Thank you for everyone who stayed with us to the end. We're going to be back for another one. We would love to have you as part of the affirmational class. Take the part that's been downloaded and has all the processes in it, because we're going to, in September, we're going to start level 2. And I'd love to have you along for that journey. If you have questions about affirmational magic, want to know more about it, please send me a message, Ariel at geniusbiofeedback.com, or you can go to geniusbiofeedback.com, type in affirmational magic, or even just the word magic, and see everything about our class come up. Thank you again for joining us, and I hope you'll come back next week at the same time and join us then. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye for now.